What is up, guys? It's your boy Jim Rare Crypto. Today we got an extra special one. Me and Sam are going to learn about NFTs, and we're talking to Full Metal Magdalene. I think that's how you say it, Magdalene. And she's a friend of a friend of the show, and we're doing an episode today. I want to talk about our NFT collection. I want to talk about NFTs, and I want to know because all our people always just say NFTs are a scam. Richard just says every NFT ever exists is a scam. And I'm like, okay, well, can we talk about it a little more than that? Because that's not even true. It's just like it's just as a scam as a baseball card is with some dude on it that you pay a lot of money for. And I have some of those from when I was little. So in Pokemon cards, all we did was fight over Pokemon cards when we were little. Guess what? Now they're worth freaking $1 billion. And I lost all mine. So that sucks. But anyway, crypto in the morning, every single day, 11 a.m. Eastern. We're coming in hot. We got a little DeFi proof. Let's get it.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking no blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hacks and I'm making a stake. Got me some heads on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that just in case. Jim Reddit sent me to show you the way. DeFi Pro, yeah. Crypto in the morning. 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 Crypto in the morning.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for coming on. Is it Magdalene?
It's Magdalene.
Magdalene, thank you for coming on.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
How did you get into like the crypto space? I don't have any familiarity with you, but GRC was.
I'll tell you how. So my friend Hex Hangout is a friend of hers. And we talk all the time. And he was like, you should bring her on the show and learn about some of this stuff. Because he knew one thing, I knew none about it. And two, it helps bring, crypto is so like sectioned off. Everyone's like, okay, we're on this team over here. And then we're on this team over here. And I'm done with that stuff. So I want to just bring more people on and learn about all this stuff. And let's start with how you got into crypto. Because let's be honest, we don't talk to too many girls on the show because not yet. Soon everyone in the world will be in crypto, but as of right now, I think more guys than girls. And how did you get into this, and how were you into Bitcoin back in the dizzle a little bit?
So I got in 2017 during the bull market. So how I started looking into it was I was like getting sick of just waitressing because that's my day job. And I didn't really have any like plan to get out of it. I didn't have like any investments or anything. And I was like, okay, I should probably start taking that more seriously. I didn't have any sort of background in finances. And then as I started to look into it, I learned about fractional reserve banking. And so that was like the pivot point where I was like, well, I didn't really have a lot of faith in the bank. I had dealt with like overdraft fees and all sorts of funny business where I'm like, I realize I don't own my own money. I love
that. Can you explain like what about the fractional reserve banking? Like what was it? Because a lot of people just heard you say that and they don't even know what that means. So can you like just your understanding of or like the impact it had on you about like trying to grasp what that was? Because it is a little bit complex.
Well, just understanding that they're lending out money or acting as if they have more money on hand than they actually do. So they only have to hold a certain fraction of the amount of money that they're saying that they have, which is why a bank run is so scary for them, because if everybody comes to withdraw their money, they don't actually have enough money to cover it.
And that's so interesting that you were thinking like this. I mean, That's just the opposite of how I got in, but I learned all that stuff eventually. But I just got in for mad gains. Like I wanted mad gains. Like I heard that you could get mad gains, and I was like, I'm good. I want some mad gains. Of course, like when you're young. No, really, I got into it. My buddy told me to buy Bitcoin. I think I had like $5,000 in my debit account, which back then was like made me a superstar. They were like, "You need to get some Bitcoin." Like like you actually have a job and like a little bit of extra money. And I was like, okay, like whatever. Like I don't really do anything except study anyway at the time. I got into Bitcoin, but I learned all the things that you mentioned afterwards. And now I love all the things you mentioned. So, but I loved when you mentioned the overdraft fees. You actually saw some of the features with the bank and you were like, this is bullshit.
Well, yeah, like the double spend, I know what that's like when my bank verifies 2 transactions and then I end up overdrafted. And then it was so frustrating because it's like, well, there's no repercussion for you guys at all with anything that you're doing. Yeah, I'm constantly being hit with imaginary fees when I'm giving you money.
This is our
So that all made sense. But also, like, I got in because I heard it made money too. Like I said, it was in the bull run. I thought it was a no fail option. But part of the culture and everything around Bitcoin specifically was what, really brought home, like, because I just have a healthy distrust of the government, a healthy distrust of the banking system. And that was all really prevalent in the community with Bitcoiners. So it just really brought me in even more.
Okay, so you get in, you start learning about how the system actually works, and you start to get into the Bitcoin community. And then what happened from when you like got into it? What was your experience like as that led you up to creating your own NFT projects?
Well, as much as I want to say I totally understood it in the beginning, I didn't. I liked that I felt like I was going to make money. I liked that I felt like I was sticking it to the bank. And then honestly, so I've been an artist my whole life. And so I started making artwork to share on Twitter and things when the pandemic hit, because I thought that with everything going on, I was like, maybe waitressing won't even like be a lucrative option for a job in the future. So I really went hard on my artwork and I started sharing it on social media. And I had other artists that were making NFTs actually reach out because I was drawing crypto themed art because that was like what I was focused on the most. So it just kind of like naturally came together, and using NFTs helped me to better understand blockchain technology too.
Can you explain that? What do you mean by using NFTs?
Or like engaging with like making them, minting them up, like what does that mean? Because I started looking into it and I'm like, well, how is this a tool for artists? How can I use it? And so being able to be creative with that kind of helped me to understand cryptocurrency and how other projects are being creative with the technology as well. It also really helped me understand self-custody because you can like see the little pictures in your wallet. It's like a little more visual than
It's
tokens.
a way to interact with the blockchain and actually give someone a reason to, because most of the people would never ever go on there. And I know, just like for me, there's a million reasons to do things on the internet, but there's not a million reasons to spend your money. Like there's a few.
I've like a completely new question. So I can get around on blockchain with cryptocurrencies, no problem at all. But I've never actually owned an NFT other than like with like liquidity providing and things along those lines. So if you go to OpenSea and you buy an NFT, does it just like you would if you were swapping? It just automatically shows up in your wallet? Do you have to import it like you would with tokens?
Nope, it's just transferred to you. So as the person that mints the NFT, it sits in my wallet. And then that's the cool thing about an NFT for an artist is the authenticity that it came from my wallet. And then OpenSea hosts like an area for you to purchase it, but the token doesn't ever sit in OpenSea's wallet. It's sitting in mine as far as I understand. And then the purchaser purchases it and then it's just transferred right to their wallet.
Oh, and so is that something you can see in MetaMask?
Yes. So basically, Sam, what will happen in MetaMask? I can go through it. I've done this a couple of times. So there's an ERC 721. That is the NFT. And if you go to ERC 721 on Etherscan, all your NFT numbers will come up. and it'll click you over to OpenSea. So if you yes, you can look at all of these on Etherscan. It might not have a value attached to it, but it will show up as something on Etherscan. But then you have to go to this would be OpenSea to see what they're trading for, price, rarity rank, quality, currency, buy now. So this is Polygon, Sam. You remember Polygon?
Yeah. Do you have like a special wallet, or is it just in your MetaMask? It shows up as like an icon or whatever as an NFT.
It's just right here. So I don't have any on this one, so we don't have to worry. But like it's it just shows up right here in your wallet. And then if you go to like your profile, and then I don't have any. So it'll show up right here. Like this would be like HSI. Like Sam, if you have an HSI stake, it'll pop up right here. Boom. And then if you
have you ever used like Trust Wallet or anything like that? Because I know on Trust Wallet too, you can go into where your NFTs are and it will show you the images that are with it.
Is it a separate section?
Trust Wallet's the EVM compatible wallet.
No, but is the section you look at separate from crypto for NFTs?
I believe so, yeah.
So you can actually drop your pictures up. That's kind of lit.
And so one thing that I learned when I first started, I didn't know this. I thought that my media was on chain. And then I learned that actually, unless it's pixelated, because that's what was cool about, like, I believe CryptoPunks is on chain because the file is so small. But like my artwork is a lot larger and more detailed. So my collections that are on OpenSea, OpenSea is actually hosting the pictures. And then I've now moved on to, I have a new collection on Manifold where I deployed the contract and paid for it from my own wallet. And then the images are hosted on a decentralized server on Artweave. So that's really cool from like a censorship standpoint.
So OpenSea could just take down their server, the power could go out or whatever. And the thing that you own, you don't actually own anymore because there's no power. So you don't have your thing anymore. Correct?
You own the token, but the token is like a string of code, really. And then it cooperates with media or whatever you want it to cooperate with, really. So
you like basically own a serial code, but you don't own the image. But they could shut down. It's a serial code hosted on a website. Can that serial code pop up with your picture anywhere? Like that's again, if we're getting too.
I kind of think of it as like as coordinates to a specific place online, almost. So it's like it knows to go to that image, and then, but like whoever's creating the token, the NFT, like you're giving it value. So say if OpenSea was like, I don't want to host crypto sluts anymore because it's too slutty or whatever, my holders would still have that token, and I would be able to send them a new NFT. Say I could just mint a new contract that I own on Manifold, take that same artwork on a decentralized server so it stays up, and then resend it to them. So I still have that connection to my buyer. That would I would assume would be a really big headache for like some of these 10,000 collections, whereas like mine are one of ones. So I have a lot smaller amount of people to get in contact with and fix.
So if it's hosted by OpenSea, you can't actually physically remove it off of hosting from them if it's in somebody else's wallet, or if it's in my wallet, can I physically remove it so that I actually own it? Because like if I have this phone here and then I like give you this phone, right? Then it's in your possession and it will stay in your possession, but it's my phone. It's not really my phone. It's your phone, right? Like that's how, like in reality, possession is a 9/10 of the law type of thing, right? That's that cliche out there. So if you don't actually own it, you just own the path to get there, so to speak, with the navigation, or like, hey, you follow this string of code, it leads you to this server. The server is owned by that company, and because that company owns this, I can't physically remove the picture to like get it hosted on a different location. Am I understanding that correctly? Or
well, that's a great question. So legally, you should be able to prove that you own it because you will self-custody the NFT, the actual token. It's just you can't put the media on chain. So the image is not actually on chain. So you're not holding the image. But say like for legality reasons, it would be on an immutable ledger, just like everything else with the blockchain, where you could say this person sold this, and this was the file that was corroborated with it, and this was what, you know, if you, a lot of artists aren't, like one artists aren't selling any use case with it. And then, so unless they're saying like you get IP rights, which is something that the artist can offer, then you've just bought the image, kind of like when you buy a painting. Because when an artist makes a painting, you still don't own the IP rights even if you buy it. So like reproduction of that image would still belong to the artist unless they gave it to you. I wanted to use the technology a little differently, so I actually do a bit more with mine, where I provide profit share to the holders when merchandise is sold that features the NFT. So like I have like hoodies and I got like mugs and different things that I'm playing with to give the image more utility, and then I can use the wallet address that's holding the NFT to airdrop the holder's future artwork of the development of the characters. So I'm working to add value to it. But that is a space where people are like, I don't really know what I'm buying if I'm just buying.
Is it hard? Is this hard for you? How many hours a day do you put into such efforts at this moment in time? Like,
All
I'm
the
just
time.
asking. No, I'm just wondering. Because I want to do shit too. So
This
like,
is cool. That was cool the way you described that.
yeah, I want to do that.
I do. I would average like 6 hours a day between like creating more artwork, upload, because I'm my own marketer as well. So always trying to stay active on Twitter and Instagram, posting things, letting people know, you know, what's for sale, what's out there, you know, minting new artworks. But a lot of it's really just continuing to draw. It just takes a lot of time to keep making all of the artwork that goes along with it.
Are you profiting from this at the moment? You don't have to be like super specific. We're kind of asking because we're new-ish to the industry too, so we're all just playing around.
From the NFT standpoint.
Yeah. Like I want to know what this stuff is.
Because maybe we'll come up with it wrong.
I want some merch. It's hard to say crypto sluts on the show. Not this show, not right here in the recording. We can say that whatever the hell we want. But like when you're live, like I'm thinking like, do you find it maybe hard for people to talk about your products because it like says the word sluts in it? Not that I give a shit. I don't give a shit. I'm just curious.
I think that what I run into, because it's almost like people censor it even before they find out if it's an issue, because you're like, oh, it's slut. But also here in Las Vegas, we have multiple businesses that have slut in the name, including a place called Egg Slut. So it is kind of in an interesting gray area, because like when the bot picks it up, like say if I'm commenting on Twitter, it can think that I'm being derogatory and I'm calling somebody that to be mean. That has happened, but anytime that I've asked it to be reviewed, it's been cleared.
Okay, can you tell me how that process works? Right, so I own a business, and you're like, hey, I have these NFTs where there's a profit share to people who own the NFTs, and something like that for maybe on a business or something might be very interesting. So how does the profit share work? And then like, how do you like? You have to write the code for that? How does that work? So like you sell something, you make $20.
So what it is it's a 10% profit share of like the net profit margin. So whatever I make as a profit, I take 10% and send it to the holder. It is easy for me to do it manually, which is what I'm stuck doing right now, because I only have like 27 characters up, and I believe like 17 or 18 have sold. So it's easy for me to look at the wallet that's holding it and then add up the math. And I just send it out on the 3rd of every month at this point. But ultimately, I want to find a programmer that can help me to make that more immediate. But right now it's at a small enough amount that it's pretty easy for me to keep up with. I do use Polygon though, because I want to avoid the gas fees with Ethereum. So that's cool, because it's the exact same address, but it's just going to be, you know, pretty much almost no gas fee to send the money.
So do you just like is this just text on the like, so you have this picture, right, of myself up there, and I'm like, oh damn, he's handsome. And then below it I say, hey, if I sell any pictures of myself, I give 10% back to the holders of this? Or is it something you do in code, or is it program? How does that work exactly?
It's declared as a utility on the OpenSea page that has the collection there. And then it is something where I have to manually figure out the math of the profit share that is to that holder, and then just send that amount in Polygon to that wallet that holds the NFT. So it always goes to the wallet that's holding the NFT.
Interesting. Okay. And so if that like transitions to a different wallet, um, is there always a way to like look up the utility of NFTs? Like, so say for like a cryptocurrency, right? One of the things that I like to do is XYZ token is coming out, right? So I'm going to look for their white paper. I'm going to look for their light paper. I'm going to look for their prospectus, so to speak, that talks about what they're trying to solve, what they're doing, and how it all works, right? So like that's what I'll like turn to for cryptocurrency as a starting point for my research to try to like understand it. But like, how do you do that with NFTs? Is there like, are they always like listed in a utility section? Like, how does that work? I'm literally clueless on that portion.
Well, I don't know how everyone else does it, because we're still kind of like, everyone's kind of figuring out how they're going to do it. I know that like there was like an announcement that the Bored Apes, something about the IP with their rights. So I went looking into their website, and their stuff is listed like on their specific website. I don't know if it's listed on OpenSea where they're selling them. I put it in the description of the collection on OpenSea, but I also have it listed on my website where I talk about the collection as well. So I guess it's kind of up to the artist to be putting that out there, and you're going to want to look for like either the website that goes along with the series or the collection, or the description on OpenSea. But I don't know if there's like really a standard right now.
It seems like if you have a market presence already, you can funnel them to wherever you'd like and get like you can do two websites basically and just say, here's my, like, this is your website that I've been looking at over here. So this is just going to be the pictures basically posted here, right? So they're basically just posted here, but then they're also posted on OpenSea.
Yeah, so that's my personal website. So that first page I just kind of use as like a digital gallery of my work. But then I have other pages throughout the website. Like I have one that's specifically for crypto sluts that goes through what the utility is, what my roadmap is. That's the one right there. Mm-hmm.
Let me read a little. Oh, you go ahead.
So I want to ask, like, what's so if I was going to release an NFT, I would think about like a roadmap, or the idea that like I want people to get value from things that they purchase and or do with me, right? So if somebody was like paying for coaching or something, I want them to get value from that. If somebody buys a product and or a service from me, I want him to get value from that thing, right? So what is the roadmap that, like, here, can you walk us through this?
With the roadmap, the crypto, there's more of a crypto sluts roadmap than a pulse chain roadmap. For real. That's an issue with 1.7 Billy. I think she would get an even better roadmap going. No, but seriously, let's read this, because I'm learning as we go. I'm reading. Season 1. All right, crypto sluts roadmap. Season 1, drop with a promotion from Chico Crypto. Now, Sam, you don't know who Chico Crypto is, maybe, but I do. Chico Crypto is like he's been crypto YouTubing forever. He's extremely popular. He's probably more popular than BitBoy, but he does his show a little different, but he doesn't be running around the Bahamas and stuff. He kind of just like a pothead kind of talking about crypto, but he's real smart. So how do you know that you're going to do a promotion? Is he like your friend?
Well, it already happened. And the way that we're connected is he hired me to do artwork for him in the past. So we have like a professional relationship. I've done a few pieces for him specifically. And when I had this project, I just reached out and I was like, hey, I'm trying to get the word out. And I did a giveaway to his community. So I actually I did a blockchain leak slut, and I did 111 editions of her. And so he announced it, and then his followers came and like subscribed to my channel or my profile on Twitter and participated in all the things they needed to for that. And then I ended up doing like one of the Twitter pickers that picked 111 at random and sent them out, airdropped them to the holders or the winners.
Now,
So that was what
now
that
we're
promotion
talking.
was.
Now we're talking. Chico Crypto, 318,000 subscribers on YouTube. I've been watching him since, I started many years now. Many years. But he's always done a show that's a little more fun.
Yeah, I've been in the Chico army for a while.
Chico,
a really great show.
Popular. His last video, 5 days ago, 41,000 views in a bear market. That's a lot of views for. Trust me, I look at those crypto metrics a lot. That's tough. And he's got a strong crowd, it looks like. So that's awesome that you just hit him up, and then you were like, "Hey, I want to." That's usually how you can get things done a lot of the time too. You just ask, or you just get involved, and that was awesome of you. Let me go back to the roadmap.
Yeah, I told him, I was like, anytime you need artwork, I got you forever, because that was what really gave me any sort of relevancy in the market to begin with.
So what does this mean so it says season 1 drop with promotion with Chico Crypto. So somebody who owns a NFT from you gets a drop of another NFT from collaboration with him or something? I think maybe I completely missed this.
The promotion with him was a separate collection. But the season 1 is, so I have been doing the characters at 10 at a time, because I didn't want to do a whole bunch of cryptos, because this was over a year ago, and plenty of cryptos that were relevant a year ago aren't even with us now. So I like to do it in like 10 characters at a time per season, to kind of look at the market, look at what's coming up, look at what's relevant, and then do the characters, because they're based off of different cryptos and their communities. So the girls aren't specific cryptos, but they're super fans of the crypto, and they're in the community. And then the characters also incorporate aspects of either the community around them, the founders, or the project itself.
So how did what does that mean exactly for like a roadmap? Does that mean the people who or just like, hey, this is what we're planning on doing, in the sense like, hey, we're going to release all these projects like 10 at a time from, the hot babe, so to speak, from each crypto that's like a super fan of that crypto kind of thing? And then you release those and sell those, or give them away or something?
They're auctioned.
So as you can see here, we got Bitcoin slut, 1inch slut, Alchemist slut, ApeCoin slut, Binance slut, Chainlink, DAI, Dogecoin, Ethereum, Harmony. No Zen sluts? What's up? No, but that's cool. I think that was a good way to show it.
So these are just the first 3 seasons. So, and I'm finishing up season 3. I don't know if either of you caught Litecoin Slut just dropped this morning.
That's big.
So these are the profile pictures. So I'm basically doing a character development. I have a manga that I started. If you visit the Crypto Sluts NFT Twitter, I actually have the first 5 pages of the Crypto Sluts manga sketched out on my pin post. So basically, these are the original characters. You get the profile picture. Part of the utility is I do like full-bodied drawings, which he was showing off from my website a little bit earlier, but they're like the same character. So say you buy the Bitcoin slut, and then you'll get airdropped the artwork featuring her, so like the further development of the character.
Can I suggest something to you?
Of course.
Make a Pulse Dogecoin slut, and you can sell it for 3 ETH, probably minimum. If you make a Pulse Doge Bitcoin, those guys will go flipping nuts. Those guys are the most wild guys in all of the crypto sphere. A small group of guys, but man, they pack a punch over in the Pulse Dogecoin, and they love seeing their merch, and they love girls and all that shit. I do too, of course.
You probably could sell it to them. Those guys will buy.
Well, not that way, but some people, their artwork is important. That they got a lot of art stuff going on over there.
So,
When
so
I
you
was
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, just like with explaining the project, I noticed it's kind of been difficult because a lot of people found out about me through Chico, but didn't know my breadth of work before I launched the Crypto Sluts collection. So I was actually drawing. So the first Crypto Slut ever was the Ethereum Slut because I was in Denver for ETH Denver 2020, and I just like randomly stumbled upon it. I didn't even know it was in town. I went in, it was like my first IRL crypto event. I actually like almost physically ran into Vitalik because I was like walking around, so I was like starstruck by Vitalik. Everybody was talking crypto. I was getting merch, and I went home and I drew my first girl. She was like hanging out in her room. She had like books about hacking and a poster of Vitalik. So I was like, oh yeah, she's like that fangirl moment. Like she loves Vitalik, and that's kind of where Crypto Slut started before it was called Crypto Sluts. And then that turned into like I did the Dogecoin girl, Bitcoin, and then all of these PFP projects were coming out, and I wanted to try my hand at it. So I kind of like took that thing that was going on, and then like brought in my one of one art and kind of combined it. So what I'm doing, I haven't really seen anyone else do, and that's been kind of the hardest thing is like knowing where to start to explain like what the hell I'm doing.
I was going to ask so I still don't think I have a good understanding of what you're doing. And then what is the PFP? What is that?
Profile picture. So like CryptoPunks, Bored Ape Yacht Club, all of those, they're PFPs.
We call them PPs in DeFi world. Pro picks. Just pro picks.
Okay.
But Sam seriously did not know that, which is odd. But that is okay. We'll just transition out. No, I'm kidding. Sam is he sticks to his ways with the verbiage. So here this is your pinned tweet on cryptosluts.eth. Who is the BTC slut? And what is she up to with all those other crypto sluts? Find out in these proof of concepts manga sketches following her on a very special adventure. So you kind of just explained to us about you going and seeing Vitalik, and I'm still a little starstruck from seeing you guys seeing Vitalik and you just telling me. So I can only imagine it was an electric situation because I'd have been freaking out probably. I like it, I freak out about everything now. So you can see you woke up here clearly. You had a little cup of Joe. All right, what's going on? Okay, she gets a new message. Okay, I think we're up 47% on the daily, or is that 47,000% on the daily? I think that's 47,000%. That's big news. And then let's look. Hold up. It's crazy. Who the hell are you? Of course, now you're quiet. Where are those coordinates? What are you guys talking about meeting up at the conference?
I guess you have to continue reading, bro.
All right, let me keep going. Speaking, I need to pack that up. What does Nikki want again? Oh yeah, Blue Dream Sour Deeds. Okay, now we're getting weed. I like that.
So you can take I don't know how that process would work, but you could take each character and develop a cartoon, so to speak. Or
So, and there's other projects that have proposed that. Like I remember one called Fuzzy Felons specifically. They were like, all right, we have this collection. You can purchase the characters. We're going to make a TV show if your character is featured in the show. I don't know what use case they were giving it for that, but that was like the premise for it. So I was always kind of wanting to take it to like a webcomics place, but I wasn't really sure what the story was at first. So it's been growing, and I've just kind of been following the artistic inspiration for the story, and then it kind of finally came to me where I'm like, okay, so Crypto Sluts is following Bitcoin Sluts specifically, but she's, I don't know if you saw the initial drawing of her is at the beginning of my website up at my gallery. It's got like me drawing it on the video. She's got like the anonymous mask and the free Ross sticker on her computer and the weed in the background and all this stuff. So she's like, she's this weed dealer that's using the Silk Road, and it's going to go through her adventures of,
I know a couple girls like that. No, for real though.
Like,
I met a couple girls that use the Silk Road, sell a little weed, and they want to get off of that mainstream bull ass.
And so like that's so I was like, okay, so that's like the Bitcoin slut. And so, it's very autobiographical because obviously it's me. So it's like her and then her introduction to like the other crypto sluts and their adventure that they're having while they're fighting the CBDCs. So that's where the manga is going.
What does that mean exactly? Manga, is that just like the story? Is that what that means? I think the only other time I've seen that is
Yeah, I don't know what that is either.
A manga, it's like the Japanese comics, like anime. They just call them mangas.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I heard you mention it earlier and I wanted to ask you what that meant because I heard you say it, but I didn't know. It sounded like storytelling or something along those lines. Okay. So you want to develop this type of story in depth, or like that's wherever it kind of like feels natural to go with the development of characters along this path?
Yeah, and because I was also thinking like, so I've got these girls and I'm developing them, but people still aren't really kind of sure. Like they're like I have little write-ups of their personalities on OpenSea to help you see it, but I'm like, what I really need to do is I really need to bring them to life. So why are people going to fall in love with a character if it's just an image? So I really want to bring their personalities out, tell a story. I made crypto sluts because I wanted to do something that would get people's attention who weren't in crypto and hopefully like bring them in a really fun way and a sexy way, because it's very attention grabbing. I'm definitely using some outrage marketing for sure. But yeah, the biggest, like I said, the hardest thing is like communicating really where it's going because it's been growing since I launched it. Because I just launched the PFP and I didn't know that I was gonna really build it so much in the way that I have. But I'm really proud. I feel like I've hit almost everything on my roadmap. I've done all of my airdrops. I keep building. I'm not going anywhere. I think it's really taken on a lot more value from where it was even when it was launched over a year ago.
Because that's also a very common thing from like that I've heard being on the outside, right? I don't pay attention to NFTs at all whatsoever. This is the most I think I've talked about NFTs at all in regards to like, I've heard NFTs and, I kind of have some understanding of that they're pictures, but there wasn't a tremendous amount of utility from like the most basic sense of like how utility works in like a very logical sense for me, right? So I wasn't really focused on them. So this is very interesting because like how I'm seeing this is you could build this into a character that is like a TV show, but the TV show might reside on YouTube or like things along those lines. You know what I mean? And have this be a whole giant, you know what I mean? These could be like characters similar to say like a Disney characters as you continue to develop this. Is that right? Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, I hope that they are. That's what I'm aiming for 100%. And also like well, let me pull it back. Well, the way that I'm using NFTs is also just like my personal way because there's not like an industry standard of doing it this way. It's just once I understood the technology, I was like, oh, I could implement it this way and I could also do this and I could do this. And that's something that's open for everybody because NFTs don't have to just be images. They could be, you could tie it to anything. It's a tool you can use in any facet of like you could put a deed as an NFT because it proves origin and ownership.
Yeah, I think that's where things are going. It's like a good way to like keep track of something. So it'll be, I don't know, people talk about mortgages a lot and like, housing and NFTs and like future of all of that. When we use NFTs generally as yield producing assets, like that's really it. Like if me and Sam are going to use NFTs, it's generally just a way to earn yields, which is odd because that's kind of a newer one, but it's been how it's going lately.
Like with I have another computer up over here that I'm looking at, and there's a NFT that's on the screen there that I own, but it's for liquidity providing on like Uniswap. So like I provide liquidity, right, in return for that providing liquidity as a representation for the position that I have in the pool, given the specific range I have. It's like, here's the NFT that is a representation of that. It's not like artful. It's not like Cool. I mean, like, I guess I'm not probably the best person to say or talk about art being cool because it's not something I focus on or something. So that's why I gain like the perspective on this because it's not something I pay attention to whatsoever. Even
It's just like a marketing tool, really. But
So-
that's what everything really is.
what are
Right.
some
So
words-
whatever platform you're holding that NFT from,
Right.
they're deciding to give that the utility. So they're like, if you're holding it, we're going to give you the certain amount of yield or whatever. Right. So it's like my NFTs have utility because I continue to produce that utility that I promised.
Well,
Also,
Can you?
with art,
No, go ahead.
I was going to say too, another thing that I think is cool is like a lot of independent artists rely on things like Patreon or like selling merch in general, whereas like NFTs are a cool thing where you can pay for one-of-one art or editions of art from your favorite artist and support them directly while also getting a collectible where if they do become successful, you could actually see a return on that purchase, which you don't see when you pay for Patreon necessarily or just donate money.
We got to drop them now.
Can you do something, say, like, so I like the idea of doing an NFT and then having a profit share, right? Because maybe that's something I could incorporate in my business. No effing idea how to do it, but like maybe there's a creative way I could put that together to do that, or as in kind of like a membership, right? Or like a group type thing together, where is if you have the NFT, you get access to the group. How do you, maybe I'm going to just get caught up in the logistics, but like, how do, say you own this NFT that is like my group, so to speak, right? And that gives you like, free shipping on products and 10% off or whatever the case is. Plus it gives you access to this like Telegram private group or something. Like, how do I translate that to the person who owns the NFT? Or like, so say you have it and then you transfer it to somebody else. Like, how do you?
Well, you list it on OpenSea, right? You have to list it in the auction.
Well, one of the ways you could let them know is by listing it in the description of the collection on OpenSea. But yeah, it's going to be, it would be interesting if they bought it and didn't know what was included in the utility, but hopefully they would know and that's why they're buying it. And then as far as I know that I believe Discord, you can do like a token gated, like people have to be holding the NFT to access the group.
Oh, that's cool.
But I don't know how to make that yet, but I know
that's very cool though, right? Because we were talking about potentially putting together a group, so I could tie the group into my business where they get free, shipping or something on it, and then also it's the token to get access to the Discord group.
And you can make it everyone turn it to their PFP on Twitter, and then it'll be an army of everyone having the same PFP on Twitter.
Yep.
Marketing army.
Mm-hmm.
These are marketing scalability opportunities everywhere if you want to pay attention and work hard. You got to work hard, though. That's the hard part. Like, if you don't care, you're not going to do it. That's the reason people like the NFT space, is because they know other people wouldn't be put. Some people scam people, of course, with their clout in general. But in general, if you're just a random person and you just started making NFTs, like, you're just probably like a decent, you're not trying to scam anyone. You're not trying to F everyone over. Like, it's direct what you're doing. It's direct that you have a following. Like, people would buy stuff of me probably just because they like, oh, he might be famous or popular on YouTube in like 2 years or so, whatever. Maybe.
Or even just because they want to support you personally.
Right. I would buy it because I would think somebody would get popular. I would just want to support them. I like sending secret.
You said you would not want to support them?
No, I don't want to support them. No, I'm kidding. I don't have enough money to support motherfuckers yet. All right, I send super chats out a lot. Like I get addicted to sending super chats sometimes. Like, I'll send like to random streamers. It's never crypto streamers. It's always like the last guy I sent a super chat telling a story about how he actually stabbed a man through his head. And I sent him a super chat, and I was like, "Shout out from B-More."
Bro, why are you watching that shit?
I don't know, dude. I cannot stop watching prison content for some reason. Like all these guys come out of prison and they just tell the absolute most amazing stories in the history. Like you could not, and they write books too while they're sitting in there. Sam, you can only imagine you would write a book if you were in a fucking cell for 23 hours a day for 10 years. You would write probably 10 books, and they do that. And they really are good books. Not as much for education, more so for like reality. Like what the fuck? But these guys write books.
So this is interesting.
Sorry for talking
He
about
likes like police type content, jail type content, but it's besides the point. Okay, so utilizing an NFT, say in what I was just describing, I feel like the way for how I'm thinking about it, in order for me to continue to add value to it, it has to be something that's super close to what I'm already doing, because people have habits that they build, and those habits are something they started 2 days ago and things that they've had 25 years ago, right? That they have habits that they incorporate into their life. So creating something where it's a habit to go in and create value, so to speak, whether it was like the Discord or other things. Like I would like to implement NFTs in my business in some way, shape, or form. How does somebody where do you go to get started? Like how do you what I mean? I don't know. Where do you go? Like what do you do?
I just honestly started looking at how other people were using it first. And then just once I felt that I had a good understanding of what was really like available through the technology, I started getting creative with it. But I would say, because I did get a lot of messages after my initial success with the launch of like, okay, teach me to make NFTs. Like, how do I get in? Everybody's like, I want to get in. But it's not that people just want to buy NFTs. It's that you can use NFTs to provide greater value for your audience, or connect. Like I have these people that hold my NFTs, and I don't have to know their name, their age, anything about them, not where they live or anything, but I have this direct connection to them to airdrop them stuff. So it would work really great for a mailing list, works really great for a membership, works really great for profit share, while also letting people keep their personal information to themselves.
Now we're talking.
Okay, so now, so this is interesting. So if I have an email list, can you, so I could use that in a way to like give out NFTs, so to speak. Would that be right? You can do anything the fuck you want, basically.
I mean, I guess if you like sent out the email list and you're like, okay, send me your wallet address on this chain, and then you would like be able to send it from there. So it's like what it really relies on is just knowing the wallet that you want to send it to.
Okay,
so like,
and then how do you go through, and do you have to pay OpenSea to host it, or is it like YouTube where we can just put shitloads of content on YouTube and they'll just host it for free because they're selling advertising and they're taking a larger portion of the advertising?
It's more similar to YouTube for sure, which is why it was so great to start there as an artist that wasn't making any money from art really at the time, because they offer what's called a free mint. So you can put the image up, but it's not minted yet. So the token's not made, so you don't have to pay any money until somebody goes to buy it, and then them purchasing it, they actually pay the gas fee to mint it and then get it. So you don't have to put up money up front if you don't have it with OpenSea. The bummer is though, if they don't like your content, they can take you off whenever they want. But they do take, it's only 2.5%. So it's pretty small. But like I said, I have now gone to Manifold, and I launched my own contract for my slutty meme cards, which is these same characters, but like the progression of them. But it did cost me about $400 initially to launch the contract and mint the first like 180 cards. So like,
and then so they go to your wallet, and then from there you send them to the addresses you want to send them to.
Mm-hmm. So they're in my wallet. The images are hosted on Arweave, which is decentralized, so they should be, just up there for good. And then I can so I've done some giveaways with them, so I can just transfer them to people if I want to. But then also they've been up for sale, and I've sold, I think, over like 60 of them so far.
So could you could use NFTs as a way of communication, so to speak, in the sense that like I'll drop you an NFT and I fucking wrote on it, right? So type of thing. And is that accurate, right?
Yeah, like it,
You send
I
secret
mean, you can do.
messages. Is that what you're saying? Secret messages?
Well, so say
I
if
don't know
someone
that they'll be secret because people can see them, but you could very well send text as an NFT. You can send audio, video, as long as it's hosted on some sort of server for
Oh,
people to see where
I've
it
seen
connects.
some new music ones that have been coming out where some head spinning in the middle of a square, and there's some rap songs that associated with it, and one of them was Spruvy. Sam Spruvy does that. So Mr. Spruvy does all that stuff too. So, but we have to close the show. We can do a round two, but I actually have to close the show.
okay.
But no, not this second. But we got to round up the show. That's why I'm at.
So this is interesting. So is there a way to kind of like put a gate on a NFT that it gets sent out, or where the idea is send out a message, right? And the message is coded in such a way where it needs the first NFT to make sense or to dissect, like that's the key to open up the message, so that even though it's on chain, anybody can take a look at this. It's just gibberish to everybody else, and to you who has the NFT, you can decipher what this actually means.
I don't know in that specific way. It sounds like something that could be done if you have somebody who knows how to create the code. I do know though that on OpenSea, they give you an option for unlockable content that comes when you purchase the NFT, but I'm not really sure how that works like technically.
That is fascinating.
We'll dive more into those though, and we can always do a round two. But go ahead.
So you mentioned you're like, hey, so what I did is I saw projects and I learned what they did, and then I went through and understood that, and then I started to feel comfortable to create my own thing. So super, super, super basic. So for me, if I want to learn more about these other projects, go to like OpenSea and just pick one and then try to find their website and then just try to read about what they do.
Good. Or I mean, I think you might do. Sorry, I'm being loud. I think that you might do better, like maybe looking around at the communities on Twitter. That might be a little faster because OpenSea doesn't really catalog it super well.
It just lists everything, Sam. So basically, if you would want to go, if you like Trayvon probably has NFTs. So if you watch Trayvon, you would just go to his collection that everyone would know because it's advertised all the time, which is hosted on OpenSea. But everything on OpenSea is just, it's just like you wouldn't know. There was no chance you would run into something with any correlation to like exactly what you were doing in that moment, unless you were looking up like keywords, of course. But in general, it's just like you'd look up keywords. There's going to be a billion on bodybuilding, I'm sure. Right.
And then
or
people
like,
doing like derivatives because they're trying to like jump on the clout of another collection, but it's not associated. So you'll see like a bunch of
Pokegon, for
similars.
example. Pokegon was just a copy of Pokemon, and it was called Not Nintendo, and Pokemon is Nintendo. So they just said, I'm not Nintendo, Pokegon with a G instead of or whatever the word is in there. And then they're like, sue me. What are you gonna do, mother? Like, what are you gonna do? Like,
and then I would also say like content creators that focus on NFTs too. There wasn't as many when I first started, but there's been so many added since the popularization of NFTs. So definitely just like finding content creators that are looking for valuable collections, and they'll kind of go over like, well, I like it for this reason, and then they end up going over the use cases and how they're putting the project together.
Okay.
I'm going to make an NFT collection that you can only accept more token. So I can only be more whale after my collection is done. That's a Trayvon's token.
How do you incorporate things where you have like the on-chain like transaction fee that goes to the person? So like Gary V, you know who Gary Vaynerchuk is? Has that with his collection where he gets 10% royalties for every time they're traded. How does that work? Or does that have to be coded? If it's on chain, it has to be coded in some way, shape, or form.
So what's really cool is the user interface on OpenSea is super like simple, and it's really easy to use. And they just have, when you create a collection, they let you put in what you want your creator fee to be, and then that's just in the code.
Okay, and so encouraging or creating community that encouraged trading obviously behooves the individual if there's a transaction fee there. Like,
How dare you say it? How dare
I'm
you
just
say it?
saying what's up. It's true, right?
There's no need because Bitcoin did a double boom move today, so we're all going to the moon with the Bitcoin. We just wait for the feds around here, and then we all cash it in. No, but seriously, this has been really interesting. There's a lot of little mechanics with NFTs that I think there's a lot of headway that people can still make some moves in money and marketing with a little bit of elbow grease if they're paying attention, for sure.
Well, like a comparison I like to use is like, everybody seems to know the failure of pets.com, even though it was like really big when the internet first came out. I was like, oh, pets.com, and then it just wasn't ever anything. And then people didn't understand what Amazon was doing, but it was the same technology, the same opportunity, but it was just utilized differently. So that's why, like, just because something's an NFT doesn't mean it's going to be valuable, but there's a way to make it valuable. You just have to figure out like how you're going to apply it.
100%. You got to put the work in or have someone else do that, which costs money. So like there's work involved in that for sure. But hey, we can always do another episode. I'm going to tag all your stuff below, and the link is pre-recorded, so we can just tag everything below, and you can just DM me like all the stuff you want under there specifically. But this has been great. Me and Sam are on our journey to learn how to capitalize on NFTs and, incorporate them in business in general, because I'm sure that'll be a way of business, whether it's about pictures or not. Working your way around that stuff will always, it's just another blockchain, tool in the toolbox. But thanks. It was great to meet you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Where can people find you if you want to show your Twitter, or where do people go to look for your shit?
So the best place to go is my website, www.fullmetalmagdalene.com. It's got links to my social media accounts. I'm also at Full Metal Magdalene on Instagram and at Full Metal Mag on Twitter, but the E in metal is a 3, so that's a little different, but
yes, and they're going to be linked down below. Awesome to meet you. If I can ever help with anything, feel free to reach out on Instagram or Twitter.
Yeah, let us know. We can do a promo on some crypto sluts one of these weekends. Why not?
I would love that. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, if you want to do a round 2, I'm down to come back.
Yeah, I think we should plan something fun and do something cool. Like I'll think of some stuff, because I got other guys that do stuff like this too. Like I just don't talk about it ever because I'm just not there yet. But soon I will. GRC20 is coming soon, guys.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hex and I'm making a stake. Got me some hedron, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that just in case. Jim ready to send me to show you the way.